What happens when one of country music's biggest stars completely loses control on live television? Buckle up, because what happened between Keith Urban and Kelly Clarkson during what was supposed to be a simple interview left everyone stunned. Before we dive into this shocking confrontation that had social media buzzing, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because you're definitely going to want to talk about this. The energy in Studio 6B was electric that afternoon. Keith Urban had just stepped onto the Kelly Clarkson Show stage, his trademark smile lighting up the room as he waved to the cheering crowd. His newest album was topping the charts, and this appearance was meant to be a celebration, an easy, light-hearted talk between two talented singers who had worked together before. Kelly welcomed him warmly, flashing that familiar smile that made audiences love her. The cameras rolled, the applause echoed, and everything appeared completely normal. Keith sat down, adjusted his leather jacket, and flashed that confident grin. "Keith Urban, everybody!" Kelly announced as the audience clapped loudly. "I have to say, your new album is incredible. The emotion in your songs is amazing." Keith smiled. "Thank you, Kelly. That means a lot. This one's definitely the most personal album I've ever made. Every song comes from something I've lived. And that's what people love about your music," Kelly said, shifting slightly. "You've always been so open about your story, but I have to ask something, and I hope you don't mind. There's been talk about your creative process lately." Keith's smile flickered for just a moment. "Talk?" Kelly leaned in, her tone still friendly, but with a sharper edge. "Well, there have been rumors in Nashville about how much of your recent work is really yours. Some insiders claim you've been relying more on ghostwriters than people realize." The air in the room seemed to cool. Keith's jaw tightened, though he kept his smile. "I'm not sure what you mean." "Oh, I think you do," Kelly replied lightly, though her tone carried weight. "I'm not trying to attack you, but when artists reach a certain level, sometimes others do more behind the scenes than fans know." Keith's hands tightened on the armrests. "Every song on that record came from my heart. I wrote or co-wrote every single one." "Co-wrote," Kelly repeated, raising her eyebrows. "That's interesting wording. Because according to our research, some of those credits might be pretty generous. There's a Nashville songwriter who seems to have done much more than she was credited for." The crowd shifted uneasily. The vibe had changed. Keith's publicist stood off camera, visibly tense. "I think there's a misunderstanding," Keith said, his accent slightly thicker. "I've always been open about my collaborations. Country music's about community." Kelly nodded, but her look said otherwise. "Community, sure, but there's a fine line between collaboration and what some call creative exploitation. When a star takes a young writer's work and presents it as their own, that's not community." "Exploitation?" Keith's voice rose. "Kelly, I don't know where you're getting this, but it's false." "Is it?" Kelly slid her finger across a tablet. "Because I have evidence here, emails, demos, even recordings, that tell a different story about who actually wrote your biggest new hit." Keith's face paled. His polished calm was breaking. "What emails?" "I'm talking about Madison Clare," Kelly said, the name landing like a bomb. "A 24-year-old songwriter from Tennessee who contacted our producers last week with documents about her work with you." The room went silent. "Madison's a talented writer," Keith said carefully. "We worked together on some songs." "Worked together?" Kelly repeated sharply. "Or did she write it while you watched and then you claimed it as your own?" "That's not true," Keith snapped, his patience cracking. "You can't accuse me like that on TV." "I can ask questions?" Kelly shot back. "When a young songwriter claims a famous star took credit for her work, that's news." "What proof?" Keith demanded. Kelly turned the tablet so he could see. His face changed as he read. "This is nonsense," he muttered, but his voice trembled. "Is it?" Kelly asked. "Because I also have voice memos Madison sent to her friend after your sessions." "Want me to play them?" "You wouldn't," Keith said, his voice low. "Try me," Kelly said flatly. "Madison recorded everything, the lyrics, melodies, even your conversations. And according to those, the inspiration was all hers." The silence was heavy. Keith's publicist was frantically typing on her phone. "Kelly, you don't understand the full story," Keith said quietly. "Then explain it," Kelly shot back. "How did Madison's personal song become your vision?" How did her lyrics and melodies end up with your name on them? You know how the industry works, Keith said, running a hand through his hair. Collaborations can be complicated. Don't patronize me, Kelly said sharply. I know the difference between teamwork and theft. Madison sent me her original recording, the same song, note for note. She sang it into her phone that night because she didn't want to forget it. Keith's breathing quickened. The calm was gone. You're twisting things. Am I? Kelly held up another file. Here's her contract with your publishing company. She says she was pressured to sign, giving you top songwriting credit in exchange for exposure. She was paid, Keith said quickly, and got co-writing credit. Buried in fine print, Kelly countered. Listed third, behind people who barely touched the song. Meanwhile, you're doing interviews saying it's about your personal growth. Keith suddenly stood, startling the crowd. This interview is over. Sit down, Keith, Kelly said firmly. We're not done. The hell we're not, Keith snapped. I came here to talk about music, not get ambushed. Ambushed. Kelly's voice hardened. Remind me who has the Emmy nominations? Who built their career on honesty? I never stole anything, Keith shouted. Madison was grateful to work with me. She learned she couldn't trust you, Kelly fired back. She learned what happens when young artists meet powerful ones who take their work. You don't know what you're talking about, Keith barked. You sit here pretending to be some reporter. I care about the truth, Kelly replied coldly. Something you've forgotten. The truth? Keith laughed bitterly. I've been doing this longer than she's been alive. And yet you're taking credit for her work, Kelly said. She told me you barely contributed, just changed a word or two. She's lying. Is she? Kelly said, holding up more evidence. I have her demo and your final version. They're identical. Should I play them? Don't you dare, Keith warned. Or what? Kelly challenged. You'll storm off? Have your lawyers call mine? Keith's hands shook. Kelly, I'm warning you. You can't scare me, she said, standing up too. I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I don't back down. The word bully left her lips like a blow. How dare you, Keith said. How dare I expose the truth, Kelly said. How dare I give a voice to someone you silenced? Keith looked panicked, searching for a way out. His publicist gestured wildly, signaling him to stop. This is character assassination, Keith said shakily. This is journalism, Kelly replied. This is what happens when people stop protecting fake images. You want to ruin my career? Keith asked. I want to give Madison the credit she earned, Kelly said calmly. She trusted you. Keith's anger flared again. You think this is about heroes? This is business, Kelly. Welcome to the real world. The real world, Kelly repeated coldly, where power matters more than honesty. She signed a contract, Keith snapped. She was 24, Kelly shot back. She didn't know she was giving away her song to you. Keith slammed his hand on the chair. Enough! Then go, Kelly said. Walk away like you did from her. You don't know anything, Keith yelled, but he was already walking off. I know she spent her last dollars to get to Nashville, Kelly said. And all she got was your name on her song. You self-righteous hypocrite, Keith shouted. You think you're perfect? No, Kelly said softly. But I stand up for those who can't. She used me too, Keith yelled. Used you? Kelly repeated. She wrote your hit. You used her. She got her chance, Keith shouted. She got to work with Keith Urban. And there it is, Kelly said quietly. The real you, not the humble artist. The man who thinks his name means more than talent. You don't know what it takes to survive, Keith said. You got lucky on a reality show. Kelly's eyes turned cold. Real artists don't steal. I never stole anything, Keith roared. Everything I have, I earned. Then why does Madison have a recording of herself crying the night she realized you took her song? Keith froze. You're sick for doing this, he muttered. I'm not the one who lied, Kelly said softly. Keith shook his head, backing away. This is insane. The only insane thing, Kelly said, is that it took this long for someone to call you out. Stop, Keith said. Just stop. Tell the truth, Kelly pressed. Admit what you did. Keith spun around. You want the truth? Without me, her song would still be collecting dust. I made it a hit. You stole her dream, Kelly said. I made it better, Keith shouted. The words hung in the air like a confession. His eyes widened, realizing what he'd said. Kelly gave a tight smile. There it is. Keith looked at the stunned audience, the cameras, then back at Kelly. This interview is over, he said flatly. Yes, it is, Kelly replied. And so might your reputation. Keith ripped off his mic and stormed out, slamming the studio door behind him. Kelly took a breath, looked into the camera, and said evenly, We'll be right back after this break. But even when the cameras stopped, the moment echoed. The world had just seen one of country music's biggest stars lose control, and there was no going back. So what do you think? Was Kelly right to call him out, or did she cross a line? Hit subscribe and share your thoughts below.